Hello everyone. In our last class, we have discussed about different type of materials and their properties. Some of their properties. Okay. So we will again in today's class the remaining properties we will discuss. In the last class we discussed only one property, that is your appearance. That how different materials appear. So if you give a quick revision, so if you can recall the last class concept, you know that materials usually look different from one another. For example, plastic looks different from iron, iron looks different from aluminium. In this way, each materials have some different appearance. Okay, and some materials have some glaze on them, that is shining behavior, chamak, that is known as luster. Some materials, for example plastic, then your cotton, they do not have any shine, there is luster. And some materials such as irons, copper, then aluminium, they have natural luster on them, they are naturally shining objects. Okay, we have performed an activity also on based on this. So mainly the metals show the luster property, and due to this shining properties, the proper of luster, these are used for making different jewelry. For example, gold and silver are used for making jewelry objects. This appearance property in the last class we have discussed. So today we'll start with the texture. What do you mean by texture? Okay, when you touch different materials, we find some are rough and some are smooth. So if you touch powder, powder is what? Smooth. Okay, and at the same time if you touch sand or sugar, these are not smooth, these are some rough. Okay, because their surface is not smooth, they have the rough surface. Similarly, if you touch one cotton cloth, the surface is smooth. At the same time if you touch a jute bag, the surface is not smooth. So based upon the texture, this is what you feel by touching, either soft or smooth. There is smooth or rough, we differentiate things into different groups. Okay, that is known as the texture, how it feels. Sorry for the interruption. Rough materials have bumps and ridges on their ridges on their surface that can be felt. So rough material, what they have some bumps and ridges on their surface that can be felt. For example, wood, then rocks, bark of tree, etc. are rough to touch. So if you touch wood or rock or bark of tree, bark of any tree, these are not smooth, isn't it? These are rough. You will feel some rough things such as ridges or bumps in your hand. So these are considered as rough. On the other hand, smooth materials have no bumps or ridges and have plain surface, so they feel smooth. For example, glass sheet, flower petals, etc. So what about smooth? If you touch any smooth object, you will not feel any bumps or ridges on your hand. If you touch, for example, a glass cup, okay, a cup or plate made of glass, it is too smooth, right? Or if you touch flower petal or your skin, it is too smooth. So there are two types of texture, one is rough, another one is smooth. Okay, and based upon this we can differentiate things into rough and smooth. Next is hardness. So we know some materials are hard and some are soft. Look at this photographs. Before going to this, look at these photographs. Foam, you all know foam and sponge, these are what? These are soft. Sponge is soft, then foam is soft, but at the same time iron nails, these are too hard. Then aluminium can, these are all hard things. So based upon hardness, either it is hard or soft, we can also differentiate things into different groups. Take a piece of sponge and iron rod. Try to compress both. What you observe, you can easily compress sponge, but iron rod cannot be compressed easily. So if you take a piece of sponge, okay, a piece of sponge and some iron nails, and try to press both these two. Okay, if you press this, what will happen? The sponge, you can compress it easily, isn't it? Because sponge is soft, but the iron you cannot compress it. Or in common language I can say the sponge, you can do anything with the sponge. You can compress it, you can just change its shape, okay, but iron with hand you cannot change its shape because it is hard. Materials that can be compressed are called soft materials. So those materials which can be compressed, that means it is of big size. Now if you can press it, okay, you can dip your finger into it, okay, so these things which can be compressed are called as soft materials, okay. Some example are foam, you've seen foam over here, then melted wax. After for example, you can try these things, okay. A candle, when you light up a candle, it melts, okay. The melted candle, the melted wax actually is soft. And sponge and some example of soft material. So sponge is also a soft material, okay. Materials that cannot be compressed are called hard materials. So obviously those cannot be compressed by your hand are known as hard material. For example, iron nails, then copper, aluminium are hard. That means most of the metals are hard. Iron, copper, aluminum, these are what? These are all metals. Because of this quality of hardness, metals are used for making household utensils and factory equipment. So why we use metals for making household equipments? For example, your gas cylinder, then your grills for your window, okay, and different factory equipment such as different big machines. Why you use iron in these things? Because these are hard enough. So if these are hard enough, they can be used for long period of time, and they will help our work. Soft things will not work out, okay. So for this property, the hardness property of metals, we use these metals for making different household utensils and factory equipment. Now, what is the hardest thing in this universe? Diamond is known as the diamond is a natural substance, okay, hardest natural substance. So in this universe, the hardest natural substance is diamond, okay. Diamond is the hardest. Some diamonds were used as tools for cutting glass and, okay, grinding rocks. So some diamonds are used for cutting glass. If you have visited any shop who deals with glass, cutting of glass, you have seen that they have some pen using which they cut glass. Those pens on the tip have some diamond, because diamonds being the hardest, they can cut anything, so they are used for cutting the glass also. The next property is soluble or insoluble, okay. Any substance or any material can be soluble or insoluble. For example, if I give you some sugar or salt, and if I tell you to mix it with water, you can mix, right? But at the same time, if I give you some, for example, some thermocol, okay, or some irons, can you mix it with water? No. That means everything in this nature is not soluble in water or some other material, okay. You need to find out different things which are soluble in water or some other solvent, or which are not soluble. So based upon solubility, either it is soluble or insoluble, we can also differentiate materials into different groups. So we will try to understand this with some examples, okay. Take a glass or a, okay, beaker and fill 3/4 of it with clean water. Add half of a spoonful of sugar on it. Okay, stir that container with a spoon. Okay, wait for a few minutes and observe. You find that sugar has disappeared. This shows that sugar dissolves in water, or sugar is insoluble in water. Okay, so what they are telling is, take a glass or a beaker, okay, or a beaker. You all have water glass in your home. Take a glass, fill this much is 3/4, okay, 3/4 part with clean water. Then give a spoonful of sugar or salt, okay. Then stir it using the spoon. After some time you will see that there is no sugar. You cannot find sugar. See, here is sugar, okay. There is water. Your spoon you are stirring. After stirring sugar in the water, what will happen? After some time, you cannot see the sugar, right? Sugar is dissolved in the water. Now we can say that sugar is soluble in water. Sugar mixed with water, so sugar is soluble in water. Now taste the water. What do you find? water tastes sweet. So because so what this sugar is mixed with the water, now the water will become sweet in taste. This is common, we all know this. If you mix sugar with water, so water will become sweet. And the property by which water is mixed, sorry, sugar is mixing with your water is known as soluble property. Okay, this is because sugar is still there in the water, but its particles have become so small and have spread uniformly on the water, so you cannot see. So you are getting the taste sweet, but you cannot see the sugar. It is common that you can imagine, right? You are getting a sweet taste from this water after mixing sugar. That means sugar is present in this water, right? But you cannot see the sugar. So what is the reason? Because sugar is soluble in water, so it is mixed in such a way that it is present over there, but the molecules are so small. Now it is mixed, and now the molecules are so small that you cannot see with your eyes. Okay, these are mixed with the solution, and this is why you can taste sweet but you cannot see sugar. So this is the soluble property. Now we'll do another experiment to see how things are found to be insoluble. Now take another beaker and fill 3/4 with its water. Okay, add half spoon sand in it. Stir the contents with a spoon and observe. You find that the sand settles down at the bottom of the beaker. Thus we say that the sand does not dissolve in the water. Sand is insoluble in water. Now what you need to do the same experiment. Take some water, 3/4 of water in a glass. Give 1 spoon of sand and stir the sand water. Okay, so if you stir, what will happen? Initially you say that okay, everything is mixed, but it is not the case. After mixing, take this. Okay, the second case I am telling, the all will be mixed, right? Keep this for example 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, you will see that they both will separate. The water will go up, okay, and the sand will settle on the bottom. Okay, that means sand is not soluble to the water. Okay, sand is not soluble in water. If you mix sand with water, what will happen? Initially you may see that all have mixed, but wait for some time, 5 minutes, you will see that both will separate. Okay, so this is the what is known as insoluble in water property. Okay, the initial case we should read is soluble. In case of sugar is soluble in water, so sand is not soluble in water. So based upon the solubility property, either it is dissolving in water or not, we can differentiate materials into two groups, soluble and insoluble. So under the solubility group, there are three subgroups. Okay, sub points. We'll learn all this today. Solubility of solids in water. So some solids such as sugar is solid. Okay, salt is solid. So this becomes soluble in water. So we'll learn about this. Solid materials that dissolve in water are said to be soluble in water. The solid materials, those get dissolved in water, such as sugar, salt, are known as soluble in water. Solid materials that do not dissolve in water are known as insoluble in water. Just now we have explained these things. Soluble materials such as sugar and your salt are soluble in water, so we will call them as soluble in water materials. And your sand will not dissolve in water, so sand will be known as insoluble in water. Okay, now in this case we are mixing solid with water. Now we'll mix liquid with water. Okay, liquid with liquid. Water is also a liquid, so liquid with liquid. Let us now observe the solubility of some liquids in water by performing following activity. Okay, activity I'll give you later on. That will be your homework. Just I am explaining one thing. If you try to mix kerosene, is a solid liquid, right? If you try to mix kerosene with water, can you mix? No, because kerosene and water both have some different property, but due to those scientific properties, you cannot mix kerosene with water. They will separate from one another. Okay. So some liquids completely mix with water. Okay, some liquids are there. So if we mix alcohol with water, what will happen? It will mix. So these are known as miscible in water. So those will mix with water will be known as miscible in water. For example, if you mix, for example, okay, Let me think any solution. Petrol with diesel. Okay, if we mix petrol plus diesel, they will mix together, right? They will mix, obviously. So those will be known as miscible in water. The solution mixing with water will be known as miscible in water. Or if you just discard this example, I am giving one more easy example. If you mix alcohol plus water, alcohol will be mixed with the water, because if you try in your home, you have sanitizers, hand sanitizers. In this situation all have sanitizers. Try to mix sanitizer with water, some, don't waste it. Try to mix some, a bit of sanitizer with water, it will be easily mixed. So those liquid which gets mixed with the water are known as miscible in water. Okay, or they do not mix with the water, what they will call, they will be known as immiscible. So kerosene and water, they will be known as immiscible. Okay, immiscible. So remember, in case of solid and water, in case of solid and water, these are complex things. Remember, in case of solid and water, we'll say that soluble and insoluble. Okay, so we will use the term soluble or insoluble. In case of liquid and water, we will say that miscible or immiscible. Now we are replacing, everything is same. It's just in place of soluble we are saying that miscible. We are not saying soluble anymore. We are saying miscible in case of liquid to water. Okay. Next is, now we are mixing gas in water. So let us learn this. Some gases are soluble in water, whereas some are not. Usually water contains a small quantity of some gases like oxygen in dissolved state. Plants and animals that live in water use the oxygen in dissolved, okay, for survival. Gases like nitrogen do not dissolve in water, they are insoluble in water. So in case of gas, I am giving you example. Basically, let us understand how it happens. Okay, in a pond in your home, for example, you have a pond. In the pond there are a number of fish. Okay, you also need oxygen. When you breathe, you are taking oxygen, right? So fish also need to take oxygen. But from where this fish will take oxygen? Because fish is living in water. You are taking from air, okay, right? In the environment there is oxygen. You are taking from, you are just breathing from environment. You are taking oxygen. From where fish will take? That means in the water there will be some gas. Oxygen, whatever oxygen you are taking, oxygen is a gas, right? Oxygen is a gas. Carbon dioxide, oxygen is all are gas. So the fish is also taking some oxygen. From where the fish will take? Fish will take from the water. That means these gases such as oxygen, they can mix with the water. Okay, so those gas which get dissolved with the water are known as soluble, water soluble gases. Okay, now see the chronology. In solid water also we have to use the term soluble. In gas water also we use the term soluble, we will use. Okay, we have to use soluble and insoluble. Just in case of liquid and water, it is miscible, the term is coming in place of soluble, only one change. And there are some gases which do not mix with water. For example, nitrogen, hydrogen and methane, this gas will never mix with water, so these are known as insoluble. As oxygen mixes with water, so oxygen is known as soluble gas. Okay, soluble in water. And as nitrogen and your hydrogen, okay, and other methane gases, they do not mix with water, so these are known as insoluble in water. So out of whatever we discussed today, this part is a bit complex part. I suggest to all of you, once it is not clear, this is why I am minimizing the time of the video to 18 to 15 minutes. Okay, you watch the video twice. If not clear, then ask me. Okay. Cold drinks are a mixture of carbon dioxide gas in water. Okay, so in cold drinks, what is there? One extra factor is there, a mixture of carbon dioxide gas in water. These drinks are also called carbonated drinks. So in cold drinks, carbon dioxide is mixed with your water. Okay, so carbon dioxide also you can say that is a water soluble gas. Carbon dioxide is soluble in water. So this is for today. In case if you have any doubt, you can ask me, but I am recommending you again and again. The last part of the video is a bit complicated. Okay, the different properties, solubility properties is a bit complex one. So do one thing, after you watch it first time, then you again watch it again. Okay, and after watching second time, then ask me if you have any doubt, because on the first time it will be a bit difficult for you. Thank you, students.